Well, we officially closed out the last quarter of 2023. Hello, this is Megan Horneman, the Chief Investment Officer for Verdence Capital Advisors. I'm coming to you on Thursday, March 28th, and what I'm talking about is the final read on GDP for the year of 2023. We get 3 different readings on GDP for the quarter. We get an initial one, then we get revisions for a second one, and then we get a third one. Now, while there could be some revisions in the future, this is the one that we follow, this third quarter, this final reading. The final reading for economic growth came in a bit higher than it was in the second reading, but it was also better than we saw in the advanced reading. So the final quarter of 2023 came in with growth of 3.4%. The upgrades were in personal consumption, but it was all the service spending. And this isn't surprising to us because the data that we've seen in retail sales and personal spending has been primarily driven by the service sector. That was upgraded by a whole percentage point since that first reading. Spending on goods were actually downgraded by about 0.8%. Government spending was also upgraded. It was primarily driven by state and local government spending, though. That was up 6% in the quarter, and that was versus an expectation of 3.7% in that first reading. Year over year GDP was 3.1%. That was the best quarter we've seen since the first quarter of 2022. And what the Fed is going to like is that the core price index for the quarter, that revision actually came in a little bit lower from 2.1% to 2.0%. Now, we realize that this is backward looking. It does give the Fed a little bit of an indication maybe where the inflation trends are going. But this is probably the last good quarter that we're going to get from a GDP perspective. If you look at some of the estimates going forward, the estimate for the first quarter is 2%, 1.4% in the second quarter, 1.2% in the third quarter, and then for a small rebound in the fourth quarter at 1.5%. We will continue to watch these GDP numbers. We are getting a lot of information for the first quarter of 24, which does confirm a slowdown here, but we'll get the actual official reading on first quarter GDP later in the month of April. That's all we have today. We'll be back next week. Tomorrow, the markets are closed for the long Easter holiday, but we'll be back next week with a bunch more economic data. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to podcast@verdence.com. Thank you.